Misconceptions. We have Riccardo Zuddas with us here today. Riccardo, could you please introduce yourself and your career highlights?
Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for having me. I feel very honored after, the stream of fantastic people you had in this podcast. So I'm really, really happy to be here. And my name is Riccardo Zuddas. I'm Italian, Sardinian, just to be more specific. And I'm a technologist by trade, and meaning that I'm part of a generation in which technology or information technology could still be learned by doing it. And more often than not, you would have been working with great people, maybe a senior that would give you all the information and all the tricks of the trade. And that's why, I like to think of myself about a technologist by trade. That meant to me, a huge amount of knowledge that I started collecting since the very beginning, and up to today with career span of more than 30 years, where I range from custom-built ERP systems. At that time, I'm talking about roughly 88, when I started doing, real work on IT, where ERPs were pretty much custom built. Each company had its own, then evolving into IBM ages. At that time was basically a huge ERP, including, invoicing, general ledger, everything. That was built by IBM, and where I kind of evolved myself into was written in RPG4, something that probably for more people will be kind of an obscure language, but that was basically what it was at that time. And then this kind of evolved me into then Oracle ERP, Oracle Financial, started with 10.7 character mode, and then follow all the different versions up to now. And of course, with that, then the experience grew, because the involvement with huge companies, big corporates, global deployments, where again the trade, right, the tendency to implement things by tweaking came through again, as it's my nature. And then that's where probably I got famous for being able to customize and build almost anything on top of things like Oracle Financial or Hyperion EPM, HFM, and reporting cubes, or FDM, which is kind of my jack of all trades. And as coming up today, where I rate myself, and I let this for someone else to judge how good I am as solution architect, where you kind of overlook the general design, and then kind of try to guide the people to actually implement it the way you think and the way it should be done. And that meant an enormous I'm very proud and kind of enjoyed a lot working with juniors, with young people coming into the trade, as I keep saying. And that's probably now the peak of my career, where I really, really enjoyed that sense of sharing, and at the same time moving forward solutions or deliverables. Sorry, I'm Italian. I tend to speak too much, so you can just cut me off whenever you want.
That's cool. So has there been any funny misconceptions in what you've done, what you do in your career?
Yeah, more than often, especially when you get called into meetings where people think that maybe you are, I don't know, part of the FP&A team, or maybe you know everything about tax. And that's probably coming from the fact that as a professional, you try to immerse yourself into the problem, right? And I don't know, probably because I like also be involved in those things. more than often came out that, oh, but you don't know tax. Well, yes, I know what you're talking about, but I cannot really relate at that level. But normally that then goes well because, again, with that shared and that vision of the problem, you can then still retrace the discussion and maybe reset the conversation.
Sure, sure. What has been your biggest career challenge to date?
Yeah, there's a couple of them. One was my first, let's say, endeavor into EPM. I'm talking about 2008. That was basically transition between Hyperion, when Hyperion then was acquired by Oracle. And without knowing that much, because that was my first project that were focused on Hyperion, we still managed to go live. We are talking about a quite sizable implementation that included everything, not just EPM, but BI, and of course, integration with the financials. And that was a very challenge, but successful. And yeah, again, right, that's where then when you come through the other end of the project, you feel that you achieve a lot, but at the same time, I cannot, it has been challenging. That's, to put it just in a few words.
Cool. So what has been your standout success in your career to date that you can tell us?
Yeah, I think it's basically a finance transformation program where, and of course, I cannot claim it as my success, but yeah, where I can say in terms of solutioning and especially technical design, I gave a lot of my insight, my expertise. And yes, that's definitely, and that's probably also became at the moment in which my maturity was at the level in which I could now rely on my experience, really, with going through several iterations, global rollouts, etc. And now you are at the point in which you can take on the big challenge. And yes, that's definitely one of the most. It's basically a global ERP single chart of account, single instance implementation, of which for the part that I done, I'm really proud of.
Cool. What's the most rewarding aspect of your job?
Well, it's definitely when you get to interact with someone, which often happened to me, someone maybe out of university coming into the enterprise, into the project, and then you start engaging. And then doesn't matter how much you know, you are still gonna get precious information, precious exchange of ideas, and it is refreshing, absolutely rewarding. It's something that I crave for, actually, because it's that that type of exchange and that type of interpersonal, and especially coming together of the minds, really. And I find it absolutely rewarding. So yes, every interaction with someone new, and yeah, especially I have to say young people, that gives you that energy, because I really enjoy that. And I feel challenged, and then of course rewarded by what you can at the end of the day get out of it, because it's at the end of the day we are humans, right? We are not islands, so we need that level of interaction. And that's even professionally, I think it's the most rewarding thing that you could do in your career.
Okay, can you share some funny moments in your career?
Well, funny moment, I don't know whether those will be funny, but well, the tricks that you get to play on others, or that you got played into by others, when especially when you are in big projects where there's a lot of different people, and then that camaraderie it comes together, and then you get tricks. So I could just, it would be too specific, but there has been times in which I had to walk into a Tesco customer care and apologize for something I did, but at the end that was a trick that my colleagues played on me, and was absolutely great, because again, that shows the level of interaction outside the work that you could establish with a great team.
Fantastic. Could you share a best practice with the audience that you have?
Well, best practice is definitely documentation and great attention in the analysis phase, because no matter what you're doing from the technology perspective, or from coding, or whatever else that comes after that initial requirement gathering or initial discussions with the SMEs, that's where your focus should be, where you should be really good at capturing the essence of what is the problem at hand, and then being able to translate it. And I don't think that technology really matters, or, for example, a specific programming language really matters, as long as you got clear understanding of what you're supposed to solve, and then take it up for your part from a technology perspective.
Thank you. We have a lot of competition in our industry at the moment, in various aspects. How do you keep trends of the industry, not just competition, but trends, what's happening, and things like that?
That's probably now, especially now with artificial intelligence, well, ChatGPT to say the most famous, it's getting more difficult, because the depth of those technologies is getting bigger and bigger, and it becomes challenging. I always managed to keep myself ahead of the technology, because the curiosity that drives me. I'm passionate about technology, but at the same time I'm very curious about everything else. And when it comes to programming languages, new technologies, new databases, that's easy, right? You just dedicate some time on it, and you can learn and then apply. But when it comes to technologies, which is kind of a very loose term to explain, for example, artificial intelligence, that's not anymore, oh, let me learn a couple of tricks. You need to have that mindset. You need to be exposed, even in your in your formation, your studies, to completely different concepts. And that's where it's becoming really hard to be ahead of the curve. That to track back to what I was saying before, that's where that relationship with young people, or people coming out of university, becomes extremely precious, because you then cut through a lot by kind of exchanging ideas or learning from people that was actually born with those ideas. And that's where I think it's going to become, for people my generation, gonna become the biggest challenge, to stay ahead, or maybe change track and then focus more again on deploying that experience you acquire, and maybe get something out of your profession.
Fantastic. So what's your advice for starters, beginners, or novices, or trying to come into this industry?
Yeah, it's I think they are gonna be fine regardless, because again, talking as a young people coming into the trade, you got everything the market is now asking of you, right? You got the ideas, you got the energy, you got the skills for the new technologies which are coming through, and use those skills, and again, listen and participate, because there's people that might be initially threatened by you, feel threatened by you, because sometimes that unfortunately happens. But at the end, you can still get something by participating. So again, I understand there must be a effort between the two parts, but yeah, try to make your first move by showing that you are able to share, you're able to listen, and you are able to understand, because that's at the end of the day what comes down to exchange of ideas for the deliverables or for resolving the common problem at hand.
Fantastic. So what do you think will be the direction of our industry in the next 5 years? What do you think is going to happen?
Well, no secret, unless the peak of artificial intelligence finally comes to reality, and then maybe we start realizing that probably, yeah, there's only as much cutting edge technology that you can introduce in the day-to-day work. At the end of the day, you still need to close the books or, you know, do something with your systems. But yes, the direction is to automate a lot or as much as you can. And that's why lately my interest, I would say my obsession, is really going into process automation, because I believe that's where the combination of current technologies and artificial intelligence as well will come together. So that's where I believe the next couple of years will be an incremental focus on process automation with the help of artificial intelligence. But I still believe, and I'm not an oracle or a guru by any stretch, I still believe that the practicality of your solutions still needs to be put in consideration. So yes, artificial intelligence is a great tool. It will definitely take over. But in the meantime, you still need to phase out your legacy systems into something that then can interact with artificial intelligence. And for that, the process automation, BPMN, things like lately Camunda having that huge growth shows that this is where enterprise is going to, right? And, allowing people to automate and be digital as much as possible. That's probably the immediate term, I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for today. Really enjoyed the podcast, Riccardo, and definitely we'll do something in the future. Take care then.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Tim.
Bye-bye.
Bye.